I'll try computer anyway. Then you can try to throw the video file around to someone that can eventually update the YouTube channel one day. So yeah, so welcome everyone. This is the Release Working Group meeting. We're all here together, Dublin, and yeah, I guess I'd like to start another streaming and recording. I'd like to start with a big shout out to all the collaborators that are around that work on the Release Working Group. Thank you so much. We have plenty of people here. It's people that do the hard work of bringing Node.js to you all timely every 2 weeks. So yeah, I'd like to thank you all for that. And maybe we can go for the agenda here. So I was thinking about starting with some intro to the working group and the work we do. Maybe somebody else wants to start at that, or else I can just provide a quick intro. So basically, the Release Working Group is the group of collaborators that kind of coordinate to put together the releases for Node.js. And yeah, there's a lot of manual work that goes into that, like basically managing the commits that will go into that release line. And oftentimes we have to coordinate with other collaborators to get backports to previous release lines. And yeah, basically just making sure everything is running. So yeah, basically the team gets together every once in a month. We have a recurring meeting that the collaborators attend, and we try to coordinate to figure out who's gonna be working on each release. And yeah, that's basically how we work. And we're just trying to do a one-off meeting from these recurrent meetings, and maybe spark curiosity from other collaborators if anyone wants to maybe start contributing. I believe like there are also other ways to collaborate with us, which will be, I guess, maybe for the build working group. Like I know we can also use help with stuff like SITGM, like or CI, like improving on flaky tasks, all that sort of stuff. So I believe like there's a lot of ways to help out the group, like if folks are interested. Like,
to be honest, we should have had a dedicated session for build because we're down to one person maintaining our whole CI system. Almost. There's some other people who help out, but
right,
like Richard does almost
everything. Yeah. So we should definitely try to spark the interest in the build working group. I think Release Working Group, like, it's our main mission.
Our main mission is to persuade people to join the other work.
Yeah. So yeah, because yeah. So yeah, I don't know if.
May I add?
Sure.
So we have the Release Working Group, which is a larger group that contains a group of releasers, people who are interested in LT long-term support and what can land in long-term support, and also the SITGM team. Most of the folks who attend our meetings are the releasers, who are the ones who have permission to go in and create releases. That is being onboarded is a process there, and they have to have trust in the people generating it. You have to have keys and etc. Because in theory you could put whatever you want on the download server, so it's quite a high access position. But as well as creating the releases, the working group owns the responsibility of policy of releases. So they have, because it's a working group, it has delegated authority. So it's our team's remit to decide when releases happen, how frequently, when the new major releases come out. So as well as the actual manual work, people wanted to participate in the discussions. They could be part of those discussions, not as a releaser, they could just join a group to discuss things like the larger policy around timings, what goes into a release, etc.
So does that include like emergency releases for security patches and things like that?
Kind of, yes. We handle those, but we do have security triagers and security stewards now who will help us in terms of getting a security release out. We just really are there to prepare the release. They do a lot of the coordination, like dates and things.
So yeah, okay. So is that clear enough?
I think that's pretty clear around the responsibilities for this group, Blaine.
Yeah,
that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, cool. So we do have a small agenda here that we put together real quick. I think it's stuff that's more, given this is a one-off meeting, like it's better to
You
try
should
to
talk
discuss-
about your things.
Yeah. So maybe we can start with the topic.
Okay.
Raphael,
Okay. Yeah,
wrap
sure.
up, yeah.
So yeah, as I said, security updates on some dependencies it's like different because for instance when we receive a security update on OpenSSL, for instance, the OpenSSL make the update and then after some moment we perform the update, like first the dependency and then Node.js. The LATTP is like different because we update it first and then we update the main repo, which makes sense to avoid complications. But the problem is that it's a one-man job, and that's currently, as far as I know, only Paulo is maintaining it. It's making hard to keep the security release on board because he have other stuff to do.
Right.
And also LLTP receives a lot of vulnerability every single day.
Right.
That's how it works, honestly. And I think that would be great at least to think about some way to update it, not as a releaser responsibility, but if we have just a single button or a workflow to follow to release LLTP very quickly just after releasing Node.js would be great. I think a GitHub workflow might make sense for that.
I guess that would make sense, aside from when we sometimes with security releases, we try to bundle in like 4 or 5 patches in at a time, and some of those might be LLHTP, some might not. So if we had a public button, how would we bundle that in with like the private release for the other 4 patches? And do we want to do 2 security releases? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the current workflow is good, like releasing it on Node.js.
Yeah.
The problem is to make it sync. I mean, the Node.js side is okay, but even releasing Node.js, we still need to release the LLTP. That's, I think, the pain point. It's like release it. If, like, for instance, Paulo is on the vacation, the LLTP, because LLTP is used for big companies like Envoy or Istio, and they need those updates too. But I don't know. I know that we probably don't. If they need, they can go through it, but we still need to release it somehow, like in some given period of time. Because once we release the release notes, most of the people can know that the vulnerability is LLTP. So
Okay, so we don't want to pre-announce
yeah,
Node what the LLHTP vulnerability.
Yeah, until it's not released on LLTP.
So I see, yeah, I guess we could take the OpenSSL approach where they ship and then we play catch up.
Yeah, I wonder what is the degree of independence from LHTTP? Like, is it fully independent project or
It is independent, yeah.
And maybe it's better.
Yeah, but the problem is that we will have the lack of time, right?
Yes.
Because that will be the main client is Node.js, of course. So
yeah.
Does I'm going to stop trying to pronounce it. Do they have like a security mailing list? Because that would be helpful if they could say, you know, we're not going to tell you what's in the patch, but we're planning to ship a patch on this date. Then that might be enough for us to prepare.
I think the secret mail list is the same as the Node.js, as long as it belongs to the Node.js organization. So I mean, I don't think that changing the workflow would help in that. I think probably it's just I can talk to Paulo directly and see what is the efforts to release the LLTP, and then we try to automate it somehow, at least with a GitHub workflow or something like that. Because if it is just a one button to press, that should be enough. It's just in case like Paulo is not around and we cannot release LLTP.
Okay.
But yeah, that sounds like a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a public workflow for LLHTP? you know, like we do for like NPM and the others? That might be a start because considering it.
We have the maintaining LLTP, but I don't think it mentions the security things. I think we don't.
And it's on repo or it only lives in the node repo?
It's another repo. Actually, the LLTP is that one. It's here. Yeah, I think that's good. I think this we don't need to take any action besides talking directly to Paulo and see what's the current workflow. I think we can move on.
Sure.
I was curious if there was like a bot that opened the PRs public.
Sorry?
For NPM, when there's a new public NPM release, there's the GitHub bot opens the PR.
Oh.
Public, I wondered if we could have that, at least covering the public side at first. So when there's a new public release of LLHTTP.
Yeah, automate it all.
Yes, most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm not sure I can say yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And from what you said, it sounds like most of the time it's going to be security.
Most of the time, totally, because it's just one guy taking care, so no feature, it's just maintenance.
Yeah.
I
mean, trying to automate is good, right? Like it makes the process better, but at the same time, sounds like we need to attract more collaborators.
Actually, yes, they are probably discussing the same thing there, because the LLTP is very good in like the features, but it's not maintainable. It's very hard. Just to have an idea, what happens that you write a code in TypeScript, and this code is compiled to C, and then it's actually transpiled to C, and then we copy all the contents to the Node.js. But it's like you write in TypeScript and then it's transpiled to C, and it's hard to see how going on. And for instance, if you write a test there, you write the markdown, you don't write any test. You write the markdown and the markdown is asserted or something like that. And I have looked into that, like I've spent 4 hours looking to the same function, and
same 8 lines of code.
Yeah, and it's a mess. I mean, it does a good job, but it's hard to maintain. So they are probably
wasn't it created because the previous code was hard to
maintain?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it better at least?
Yeah, actually it's better. It's better than the old one.
Right.
But it's still like hard to maintain. There is no documentation to how to maintain this. So they are probably discussing like how to move on with LLTP. So I think it might change, but we probably need to have some automation, at least for the release itself. So that's all I have for the LLTP. I mean, I'm not working the LLTP, but I know a lot because Paulo complains a lot about it.
Right. Okay, yeah, I guess that's
I think I have a good action, and I can update the minutes when I get some answer.
yeah, feel free to
Okay.
drop some note there. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we have anything else to add on it, so we can move on to the next topic here. We have the Node.js 19 coming up next major release line. So there is a lot of features that we're waiting on it, breaking, or at least breaking changes. And I guess most important thing here is to let everyone know, all the collaborators, that if you want to make sure something land, like now is the time. Yeah, get it in, get it ready, get it all made.
There's someone talking.
No, I think it has been highlighted for a while now.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we see if
I'm
we
not sure if they
hear?
can hear us, but I mean, they wouldn't stick so long if they couldn't hear us.
Yeah. It was,
Just
I was-
hanging around. Like a
Yeah, I was
No,
hoping it
it's
was send a
muted.
message.
It's muted.
No, no, it's good. You mean us or?
Stuart can hear us. I'm just-
Yes,
Yeah.
they-
I can hear you. It's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
there we
working.
go.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I was saying, so, yeah, basically just to let all the collaborators know, now is the time to get things landed if you want to make it in time for Node 19. But yeah, Rafael, maybe you can also,
There's already a release candidate, right? They
Right.
can test their code there, so
true,
feel free.
true. We just recently, this week, cut a first RC version of 19. There's something like people are just following up and excited to try it out, but that's something that is available now.
I bet Stephen King fans are really looking forward to version 19. It's like his favorite number.
So, yeah, anything else to add?
There's the Happy Eyeballs PR. Oh, no, that's Node 18, isn't it?
Oh, yes, is
Yeah.
not 18.
What is that again?
This is another LLTP stuff,
Okay.
but actually is some release changed how the DNS resolve some hosts, which means that when you perform DNS dot resolve and you pass the host, it was bring IPv6 actually instead of IPv4, and some clients doesn't work with IPv6.
Oh,
And it was landed as, I don't know, it wasn't landed as a major as it should be, I guess. And he still is working on that to figure out how to handle it. But I have asked him why it is called Happy A-Balls, and he said, okay, I don't know.
It was
That's
the
all
name
I
of
have.
the emoji.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good name, that's it.
I mean, I guess. All right. So,
I guess on the topic of 19, V8 update, how's that going?
all right.
It's
Better?
almost ready, but still not. I mean, the latest issue is that it seems to be impossible to compile native add-ons with Visual Studio 2015.
Oh,
Last time I suggested dropping the support for it, someone was against it.
Could we take the approach of trying to retroactively restore it? You know, ship it on. Do we
I
have?
don't know. It's probably very easy to fix the
Okay.
problem, but I'm not able to do it. We need to find someone.
The Lenaro folks, can Stuart hear me? Would they be able to do it?
It's probably worth asking them. Yeah. I mean, they seem quite keen to fix things. So.
Okay. So yeah, I think it will be ready for the release.
Awesome. Yeah, I forgot that.
Which version of Visual Studio was that of interest, did you say? I didn't quite catch the number.
2015.
15. Okay, quite an old one then.
It's just like syntax error from a header file.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I just need to go through the Chrome release notes to see what's new in JavaScript support. Because V8 stopped doing blog posts.
Boo.
Sounds positive though, but
Yeah.
over most of the hurdles. Apart from once. And there's Stitchum as well. How's Stitchum on there?
Right. I heard, I've seen some like Miles messages, like he got some time to work on improving it, but I haven't run it ever since.
Yeah, I tried to run this morning. It says 180 favorites, which is relatively high to me.
Yeah, that
So-
sounds about the same as before. Right, yeah. So, yeah, I believe like that's gonna be big ambitious target of this group, trying to find more people to contribute to CPM. Right? Yeah, it's really hard because it's trying to maintain a smoke test suite, and that is just like it's endless work, right? It's infinite amount of work. Like you need to be catching up.
When my pet peeve about Citrix is it's changing two things at the same time potentially, because you're changing the module version and the node version.
Right.
So, like, if one of them breaks their own test suite, like a module, or they do like a bad patch or something, we then waste time because it's not true smoke test, because what we're basing it against is constantly changing.
Right. Oh yeah, that is even worse.
Yeah, I've had a proposal open for like 4 years to try and make it like pinned to a specific known good version, and then maybe each night,
Right.
if it's green,
Right.
bring down latest and update the last known good. But
Why that didn't work?
I think we didn't really get agreement that it was a good route to go at the time.
Oh, but that sounds much better. We should do that now then, because honestly, like anything we can do to at least, improve on it. And I think also like that might mean also maybe reduce the number of packages.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it doesn't help us having all that rad. Like everything is just rad. Like there's.
I got to the point of like, should I propose starting and look up again from scratch?
got
Because
red.
at this point, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay. Let me take some notes on that.
Last time good system is a good idea.
Yeah.
There's one annoying issue with Citron, and I don't know if we can fix it, is that most packages don't have a package lock file.
Right.
And sometimes there's just a failure because of an ESLint error, or because TypeScript introduced a breaking change, and then
Every release.
then when you do npm test, it doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if there's a solution for that.
Yeah, that is a harder one to fix. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anything else on the Node 19 before we move on here in the agenda?
has anyone at the foundation reached out to you about blog posts?
Not yet. No.
Okay, I might need to leave the correct people in
Okay.
to speak to each other.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good one. Okay.
You have 5 minutes by the way before
Yeah.
dueling starts.
Yeah. We do have here we wanted to talk about the proposed change to LTS releases. So I'm going to do the overview, and please fill in any details I'm missing. Or maybe I'll let Michael talk about it. Yeah, you propose a change. Yeah, that's much better.
It's just that I prepared some of the biggest LTS releases this year, and it takes a very large amount of time. And yeah, I'd like to find solutions to improve that. And I think the main issue that we have with our current schedule, where we force ourselves to do patch releases, is that we have a lot of commits that we have to drop because they depend on minor changes. And we also have this problem with major changes, but it's less an issue. And I also still don't really understand why we have this rule.
I think at the time, conceptually, a minor was seen as more risky and needing more baking time than a patch, which I kind of disputed at the time, because if it's truly additive and people aren't using it, I'd say it's less risky than a patch that's touching code that they may already be using. But
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
I think we're adding pain to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think there was an argument about cloud providers, but I don't know exactly what's the reason. I can only speculate about it.
I think it's just, well, I've read the thread recently, actually yesterday, trying to get away off Jackson egg, and it was about like cloud providers normally don't automate updates of minors, just patches. So for instance, if you release Node.js on every minor, they will be out of date very quickly because they normally follow some workflow to update minors, some integration tests and so on. But they should be fine.
That's not our
So-
responsibility. And if they
Yeah.
want only patches, then they can stay on maintenance until it goes end of life.
I think in the moment that this is LTS, we are doing the best as we can. We can just update minors.
I have a question. If that one is finished, like if you're happy with,
Yeah.
like, is there, so I was trying to figure out, like, is there a good, I found it on the new website, like a release notes about what new features are in each major version. And it wasn't on the old website, but it is available in Node.js.dev. These are good write-ups. Like the Node.js 18 is now available. It's like human written, like what has changed in that release. And I was gonna be like, is this the team that has to deal with that responsibility? Because I would like those release notes. Like TypeScript, we spent huge amounts of time writing those release notes.
That is work on its own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael has been doing great work, doing more readable human readable change logs. But that's an enormous task and like,
But you only make a major release every year or two, right?
oh, for the major for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's not much to say about the major.
Yeah.
They're the boring ones mostly.
Yeah.
So, and this is what we've broken. Is this?
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
But again, this one, the one in the new website,
Right.
this is actually a pretty good overview of actually all of the things.
Oh, that's
It actually
that's-
talks through a lot of the
That's
details.
what John, right?
Yeah, who wrote it? It doesn't say, it says by the Node.js.
That's, that's the blog post.
That's the announcement. That's the one we have to
That's
figure
the
out.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
We broke with.
I want more of these. I think this is a good
Yeah.
move.
Yeah,
I couldn't find
I
it on
think
the old
everyone
website.
wants more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for the major it's easier, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, of course, that's what I mean.
once, yeah. But yeah, for it would be nice to also have that regular, like that's harder.
One idea I had is whenever someone labels something as notable change,
Yeah.
we code the bot to, say,
that to
you
an
have just
issue."
labeled this notable
Right.
change. Can you please, fill
Make
in
it
this
right.
code block with
Yeah.
the description you want in the change log?
Yeah.
Just so people don't expect, just adding a label means that, yes,
Yeah.
it pulls it up. It'd be nice if they would
Yeah.
give us some. description.
Yeah, they could give you like a bit of the stuff and then you editorialize it and
Yes.
make it
Yeah.
consistent at the end.
Yeah,
That
by the
would be
way,
a really nice
I
one.
think we can do it in the 19, like start asking to the major change to the authors, like do you want to include some example in the change log or
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Because if we leave it to the last week, we probably will not get the answer.
No.
From experience, that's an incredibly painful task and it's a lot of cat herding.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take note of that too. Okay. So here I see there's two more items here. We had this tentative agenda. Security patch validation. Who had that? What is that?
Sorry, which one?
There's a security patch.
Oh,
validation. Is
yeah,
that you?
it's me. Yeah,
Oh.
again.
Right. What is that?
Basically, when we receive when we perform security updates, what we tend to do is like, okay, we receive a report on HackerOne, we fix that report, or we assume that we fix it, and then we perform the secret release. The problem is that, for instance, the LLTP is very flaky, and sometimes, and at least me, the last release, I have fixed a secret vulnerability on DNS rebind on macOS, but I had no way to test it. So I have fixed it, but it was not truly fixed. We received a new report telling, okay, there is a new vulnerability caused by that fix, or like it was an insufficient fix or something like that. And I just thinking about some step in order to make sure that the fix is really fixed, or it was the patch that didn't include any vulnerability too. So one thing that I was talking with Beth in the chat was we can build the binary locally and send to the reporter and they test. The problem with this approach is that if I use Linux and the reporter use macOS, it won't work, obviously. But and I think, I don't know, I think Tobias said gave another suggestion, that was sending the patches to the reporter in the HackerOne, like the GIF. And the problem with that is unlikely the reporter will have enough knowledge on the code base to know that this will fix or not. So I think that we can mix both operations, like we send the patch plus we send the binary, if we can, obviously. But also sending the patch in the HackerOne, it's very hard, because if you change a lot of things, the GIF will be a mess. And if you send it in the HackerOne, it will be very difficult to the report to read. I like the example of the GitHub advisory that allows the reporter to review the code itself without having permissions to the node private, for instance. That's very cool, but we don't use it. So I think, okay. Go ahead.
Just suggestions if, at this point it's okay. So I think one issue that we've done when we tried vulnerabilities before for like the NPM ecosystem was we usually got reproduction code out of the reporters. So if you get that, of course, you can use it, right, to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might take a specific and very hard to reproduce code. So just a general suggestion is perhaps you could deploy the fixed app like somewhere, in the cloud, and give that to the reporter, and then they can run their whatever fuzzy test around it. And so this way they don't look at the code or something, but they can functionally test that it's not vulnerable anymore.
Yeah, that's the suggestion of the binary.
But don't send them the binary, just like you run it, because again, like they need to run the binary. So if we like just deploy it somewhere and then give them an IP and then they can test it, that's kind of making it even easier for them to like test it.
Yeah, we need to have access to the machine, and sometimes it's different. It's hard because, for instance, the DNS rebind fix was happening on Chrome, and I show it to someone, and okay, it's fixed. And then the new report, okay, it falls on Firefox now. So we actually can't test it in a terminal, via terminal, at least. And that will be like different, but it's a good approach too, yeah.
Yes.
I think we could take both or either and say, hey, we can supply binary that contains the fix to the reporter, and we can try it out. Or you could supply them the patch, but also the instructions to build Node themselves. I think we've done that in a previous report. We've been like, here's the patch, here's how to build Node, here's how to, try build a binary for yourself to try. That would get over the architecture problem-ish, aside from how many reporters are going to be willing to build their own binary. Probably not money.
Yeah, totally. The problem with the build approach is that it goes public, right?
We could try to amend our release build script to have a toggle to say don't publish to the download server, and then you could just download it from Jenkins.
Yeah.
Which is private. Yeah, as long as it's restricted to releases anyway, right?
Could we use GitHub to build? Like if we use the GitHub advisory feature, maybe there's a way to upload some artifacts that are private.
I don't think there is any.
No.
No, we are looking at that. I don't think there's any.
Even if the repository itself is private.
I believe so. I
Yeah,
might be
right.
wrong, but as far as I know, there's not. They don't allow you to upload.
So can we pull it out of the GitHub Actions that run on a private repo anyway? I wonder if there's an asset somewhere that we can just download.
Even out of artifacts.
Yeah, the problem with that is that we don't have enough minutes.
That's true.
That's nothing that money can fix though.
Yeah, it's hard.
I had a question on touching on the subject of security release. Recently working on one of them. And one thing I noticed, there's no, I don't believe, maybe I can just learn a few little things here, but I don't believe there's a build CI, like a private one, that folks can already like start testing their PRs. That seems to be a limitation. Like we need to lock in the CI in order to test PRs and everything.
Yeah.
That was a challenge, like with our last.
Yeah, normally
release.
is actually in the documentation there is a suggestion like you don't need really run the CI in every patch. You get all the patches in a single pull request and then you run the CI.
Yeah. But that's super tricky for that.
That's tricky.
Problems, right? Like
The fact we don't have a dedicated private security release
Yeah.
test server is because our machines are set up in a way where the release machines are set up in a very specific way for our binaries, and the test machines are set up differently.
okay.
And we've kept those pools like intentionally separate.
Right.
So if we were to have a private test CI,
Yeah.
there'd need to be another set of machines
Yeah.
that were configured in the test setup way. If you reuse the same machine, you'd have to make sure the workspace was wiped. You can pull out the shard,
Yeah.
etc. So doing that would be a lot of build work.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
we don't have the machines or the people to do it. So
Yeah. But it could be a nice,
it would be
you know,
nice.
nice to have type of thing. But yeah, we might not be there at the moment. But yeah, because then I also wonder maybe we can also have builds, right? Like
Yeah.
do private builds and share that. with folks.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that I can probably adjust that pull request to include, okay, send the GIF to if it's applicable.
Yep.
And then a further action would be like check if we can skip the the build to public, right? But there is a problem with Tarball, right?
It depends. If you build it locally and send it to them, that's fine.
Yeah.
If we change the release server to have an option where you can just
Yes.
untick publish, then it would just not publish anything, and you just have to download it from Jenkins UI. That would be fun.
Yeah. I think this is like a second action that will need some time. But yeah, we can check, we can test the first approach. And if this not work for some reason and we can check.
Do we already try to encourage the reporters to supply minimal reproduce as a test case? Because if they give us a test case that's reliable.
So yeah, actually, there is a problem on that because sometimes the fix is in the C++ side, and if they can, obviously it will be like a integration test, but I think it will be hard and it will, I don't know, reduce the reports itself, which is what we are not actually we want, but we don't want. Yeah. But let's see, okay. So.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we might.
There is one more.
Oh, the better release notes. I think we talked about it already, right? Like
Or did I accidentally bring up an agenda item?
Yeah, you did, right? Like, so I took some notes here, like maybe adding the bot, the bulk authors of notable change, pull request, but we talked about it already. Yeah. So that one I already even have notes for it here. So yeah, no. So I think that's the end of the agenda here. Unless anyone has anything else wanted to talk about.
No. I think that we are good.
Good.
And release our GIF code, right?
Yes. So
I guess onboarding often everyone's super interested in becoming a Node.js releaser and doing lots of interesting work.
definitely, yeah.
Feel free to sign up.
That is the hidden agenda of this meeting here. If anyone wants to help, you can reach out.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically anyone from the release working group team, they just let us know, like if you're interested in helping out. Like I said at the beginning, maybe it's the more build side, like when we really need help on the build side of things. But also if you want to prepare releases, yeah, then we can also onboard you, like we can always share the work.
Oh, I have a question, not related, but recently I have landed the 18.10, and in the initial proposal it was included the dash watch, right? This new feature,
Yeah.
and I had to drop because it was failing on CI.
Right.
And to drop the root commit, I had to drop a lot of other commits too. And then the guy created a backport of all those commits in a single one. Is that acceptable? Like, or we need a backport for each commit?
Did he squash all of the commits down, or were they still?
Yeah.
It's only one commit at the end.
Actually, in the main is 8 commits.
There's multiple comments.
Yes, multiple commits, but in the backport will be just one.
I think we tend to like to keep the same logical commits so that we can revert them independently. But if it passes CI,
Yeah, actually, the commits were just about like changing passes and those stuff. Nothing
Or
truly.
maybe they should have be squashed on main too. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
fine,
it's because it was created some days after.
I realized we can do that. How's your all discussion going?
Oh,
Closing it.
great. Yeah.
We like spent the entire time talking about one topic, so.
LLTV?
Yeah, we're oh, perfect.
Good chunk of that, yeah.
We're trying to move on to the
Next
tooling
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
And I want to make sure before we like start
Yeah.
sending people around that y'all are wrapping up too.
Yeah, we're wrapping up,
Cool,
right? Yeah.
cool. We'll do that then.
Okay, we'll come. All right. Yeah.
Squashing commits.
Yeah. This question.
Yeah,
I think in that case it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
so
mean,
yeah,
I think
just
it is
wondering
okay.
if that's okay or not, because
I think our backport guide encourages people to preserve the same commits, but if they don't and it passes and it makes it banned in a green healthy state.
yeah, because one thing actually I have asked him to talk with Daniele, because let me see.
Yeah, he messaged me.
Okay,
Because
so
there would have been merge conflicts if you backported one before the other.
yes,
So one has to go in, then he has to fix the.
yeah,
second
so a
one.
single pull request is okay, right? Okay, great, awesome. That's just the only question I have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for showing up.
Let's do
And
it.
yeah, make sure to reach out if you want to help.
I need to volunteer for a release at some point. It's been a while.
We miss you. All right.
See ya.
Thanks.